Galactic Standard, date 7429.56.8. Location: Treaty Chamber, Imperial Flagship Dominant Claw. Humans are strange. No, correction. Humans are profoundly, absurdly, cosmically incomprehensible. And I would know. I, Vaznik, senior diplomatic observer of the Kreslac Empire, bore witness to the most bizarre negotiation in our 4,000-year history. A meeting that began as a peace treaty and concluded with, well, patience, I'm rushing ahead. Another record. Observer? Asked Lerma, my aide, her 4 eyes blinking in a ripple as she passed me a datapad. This will be your 5th today. The Imperial Archives demand exhaustive documentation, I replied, tugging at the folds of my ceremonial collar. High Command insists on every scrap of detail about the humans before they arrive. Lerma's mandibles clicked in quiet. Skepticism. From what I've seen, no archive in existence will prepare us for them. I should have heeded her. Truly, I should have. But when one serves an undefeated galactic empire for 12 generations, one acquires a certain, shall we say, confidence, or arrogance if you prefer honesty. And the Kreslac Empire had arrogance in excess. The treaty chamber pulsed with restrained energy as our highest-ranking officials readied themselves for the arrival of the human delegation. Gigantic view screens showed their vessel on approach. Small, unimpressive, and pitifully outdated by our standards. One casual weapons discharge from our fleet could have reduced it to vapor, but that was not today's objective. Not this time. Primitive machinery, scoffed Commander Bra, his scales flashing with disdain as he glared at the feed. How did these beings ever stumble their way into interstellar flight? Perhaps through sheer determination, I offered mildly. Bra barked out a laugh, sharp and grating like metal tearing against stone. Determination does not make up for defective biology, Vaznik. These humans have no natural armor, no venom, pitiful sensory range, and their planet is mostly water. Water. Absurd. High Commander Drexelvor swept into the chamber, his towering 9-foot frame instantly commanding silence. His ceremonial armor, decorated with trophies from countless conquests, clinked with each deliberate step. "Status," he demanded. "Human vessel on final approach, docking bay 3, reported the comms officer. Their delegation numbers, 4. Only 4? Drexel's mouth ridge curled into what passed for a smile among our kind. 4 against our 300. At least they grasped their place. I cleared my throat carefully. Intelligence indicates we must not underestimate them, High Commander. Their species has endured 3 extinction-level events on their world. Endured, perhaps. Thrived. Highly questionable. Drexel dismissed my warning with a casual flick of his primary claw. Do not forget why we are here. Treaty P4728. We grant them nominal independence. They yield resources and land. A routine process. Routine indeed. The Kreslac Empire had claimed 64 star systems through this very method. Intimidate, negotiate, subjugate. Always in sequence. Display overwhelming power, extend a treaty that feigns respect for sovereignty, while quietly stripping true authority, then constrict the grip step by step. The human delegation arrives until the subjugated race is absorbed into the imperial mechanism. The system had never faltered. Not once in 4 millennia. They have docked, reported the security chief, scanning complete. No weapons detected. Drexel raised his towering frame. Excellent. Escort them in. The monumental doors parted, and the AEA human delegation entered. That sight is forever etched in my memory, even if I endure another 100 cycles. They appeared smaller than anticipated, delicate, fragile even. No claws, no natural plating, only smooth skin in shades of brown and tan. Yet they moved with a confidence utterly at odds with their situation. High Commander Drexelvor declared, our protocol officer, supreme leader of the Kreslac Empire. vanquisher of 64 systems, dread of the abyss, welcomes the envoys of Earth. The foremost human advanced, female, if our records were accurate. Average stature for her kind, dark, hair bound neatly behind her head. She wore a plain blue uniform with scarcely any insignia, a stark contrast to the ornate regalia favored by our ranks. Ambassador Norah Kim, representing the United Earth government, she announced, her translator shaping the strange noises into serviceable Kreslac. Thank you for your hospitality. Hospitality. We had encircled their colony with dreadnoughts and demanded surrender. Either the woman had a peculiar wit or failed to grasp reality. Ambassador Drexel rumbled, never deigning to bow to her gaze. We are gratified you embraced diplomacy. It will ease matters for your people. The human's lips curved upward. Our intelligence suggested this was a friendly gesture among humans, but something about this particular smile made my scales tighten. We are a diplomatic people by nature, Commander, she replied. Violence is so inefficient. Drexel gestured toward the massive treaty table. Then let us be efficient today. The negotiations, if you could call them that, proceeded according to plan. Our legal experts had prepared the standard subjugation treaty, thinly disguised as a mutual defense and trade agreement. The humans would retain nominal control of their colony world Terabus E, while granting us access to 80% of their resources, including the valuable quantum crystals that had brought us to their system in the first place. As senior diplomatic observer, my job was to watch for signs of deception or resistance. I observed Ambassador Kim carefully as our terms were presented. She maintained that same unnervingly pleasant expression throughout, occasionally consulting with her 3 colleagues in hushed tones. These resource allocations seem rather one-sided, she noted during the 3rd hour, pointing to Section 47 of the treaty. A necessary contribution to your protection, replied Drexel smoothly. The galaxy is full of dangers. Our fleet doesn't maintain itself. Of course, she nodded, making a small note on her datapad. And this clause about jurisdictional authority, merely administrative, our legal counsel explained. The Empire requires certain legal frameworks to operate effectively within your system. I see, said the ambassador, making another note. And so it continued point by point. The humans asked questions, received our carefully crafted non-answers, and made their little notes. They requested minor modifications, trivial things like communication protocols and cultural exchange provisions, which we magnanimously granted to maintain the illusion of negotiation. During a brief recess, Drexel cornered me in the antechamber. Your assessment, Vaznik, he demanded. I hesitated. They are accommodating, High Commander, perhaps too accommodating. Explain. They are not fighting the major provisions. Resource allocation, military presence, legal jurisdiction. They are accepting our terms with minimal resistance. Drexel's ridge plates expanded in satisfaction because they understand reality. Their scans show 50 warships treaty negotiations begin surrounding their colony. They know resistance is pointless. Perhaps I conceded, but intelligence indicated humans are notably stubborn. This seems out of character. You overthink, Bosnick. Some species simply know when they are beaten. The negotiations resumed, and by the 6th hour we reached the final provisions. This clause, Ambassador Kim said, pointing to Section 103B about technological exchange. We'd like to modify it slightly. Our legal counsel bristled. That section is non-negotiable. Imperial security requires... Oh, we accept the restrictions, she interrupted smoothly. We simply wish to clarify the definitions of civilian technology versus military applications. For clarity's sake, a reasonable request on the surface. Drexel nodded his approval, and our lawyers drafted the amendment. By the 8th hour, the treaty was complete. 97 pages of legal text that effectively ended human independence while maintaining the thinnest veneer of autonomy. Standard procedure. As I said, the ceremonial signing was conducted with appropriate pomp. Our officials in full regalia, the imperial anthem playing softly in the background, and the humans, to their credit, maintained dignified expressions throughout. When Ambassador Kim's turn came to sign, she paused with the stylus hovering over the document. "A momentous occasion," she said, looking directly at Drexel. "The beginning of a new relationship between our peoples indeed," rumbled the High Commander. "A wise decision for your species." She smiled again, that same strange smile, and signed her name with a flourish. "There," she said, setting down the stylus. All done. The treaty was official. Taurus A and its human inhabitants were now for all. Practical purposes imperial subjects. The room filled with subdued applause from our side. As the formalities concluded, I approached Ambassador Kim, curious about her unusual composure throughout the process. "Ambassador," I said, "you have been remarkably accepting of our terms." She turned those alien eyes toward me, flat, round eyes with white surrounds and dark centers. Unsettling. "Have I, Observer Vasnik? I believe in making the best of any situation. Most species resist more vigorously when faced with such comprehensive agreements." That smile again. Different species, different strategies. Humans prefer to look for opportunities rather than obstacles. "Opportunities?" I couldn't help asking. "The treaty is quite restrictive. Every document has its possibilities," she replied cryptically. "We are quite good at finding them." Before I could question her further, Drexel summoned her for the official reception. As she walked away, I noticed something odd about her gait. A subtle bounce, almost like someone trying not to laugh. The reception proceeded according to protocol. Our officials congratulated themselves on a knot. Galactic Standard Date, 7429.56. 15 Location, Imperial Administrative Center, Kreslac Prime. "This recording may be my last," I whispered into my personal data pad, glancing nervously at the sealed door of my quarters. "The situation has deteriorated, beyond all precedent. An understatement worthy of a diplomatic award, if such things still mattered in our crumbling empire." Days after Ambassador Norah Kim signed our standard subjugation treaty, the Kreslac Empire began unraveling like a poorly woven ceremonial tapestry, thread by thread, system by system. "Bosnik, are you there?" Lurma's voice crackled through my secure comm channel, heavy with static and what sounded suspiciously like weapons fire in the background. "I'm here," I responded, lowering my voice despite being alone. "Your location?" "Level 47 Records Division. We have barricaded the main entrance, but it won't hold long. The protesters have Imperial-grade cutters. Protesters on Kreslac Prime." The concept was almost unthinkable. Our home world had known absolute peace and order for 20 generations. Protest was not merely illegal. It was unimaginable. Until today. "How many?" I asked. "Thousands," Lurma replied grimly. "Mostly citizens, but some military units have joined them. They are demanding access to the treaty archives." "Which archives?" "All of them." "Vasnik. Every treaty the Empire has signed for the past 1,000 years." I felt my primary heart stutter in my chest. "That's not possible. Those are sealed by Imperial decree. Tell that to the mob with plasma torches." The connection terminated abruptly, leaving me alone with my thoughts, and Ambassador Kim's brilliant trap revealed, the increasingly urgent security alerts flashing across my official terminal. How had it come to this? Perhaps I should explain. After our disastrous attempt to colonize Terra Vasoy, High Commander Drexelvor had made a fateful decision. He declared the treaty with humans void on grounds of deceptive practices and ordered a full military strike against the colony. "We will make an example of these primitives," he had roared during the emergency council meeting. "No species defies the Kreslac Empire and survives." Admiral Krell had looked distinctly uncomfortable. "High Commander, most of the humans have already evacuated. The colony is nearly empty. Then we will pursue them." Track every ship that left the system. The treaty's communication protocol amendments limit our tracking capabilities, the Admiral explained reluctantly. Their vessels disappeared from our sensors once they passed the system boundary. Galactic Standard Date, 7429.556.8 Location Treaty. Room Imperial Flagship Dominant Claw. Humans are weird. No, scratch that. Humans are absolutely undeniably cosmically baffling. You should know. I, Vaznik, senior diplomatic observer of the Kreslac Empire, have personally witnessed the strangest diplomatic event in our 4,000-year history. An event that started with a peace treaty and ended with, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Another. Recording? Vaznik asked Lerma, my assistant, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence as she handed me the data pad. This will be your 5th today. The Imperial Archives demanded comprehensive documentation, I replied, adjusting my ceremonial collar. The High Command wants every detail about these humans before they arrive. Lerma clicked her mandibles doubtfully. From what I have seen, no amount of documentation will prepare us for them. I should have listened to her. Really should have. But when you have been part of an undefeated galactic empire for 12 generations, you tend to develop a certain, let's call it confidence. Arrogance, if you want to be blunt about it, and the Kreslac Empire had arrogance in abundance. The treaty room buzzed with activity as most decorated officials prepared for the arrival of the human delegation. Massive view screens displayed the approaching human vessel, small, unimpressive, and embarrassingly outdated by our standards. Our warships could have vaporized it with a casual weapons burst, but that wasn't the plan. Not today. Primitive technology, snorted Commander Bra, his scales shimmering with contempt as he gazed at the screen. How did these creatures even achieve interstellar travel? Determination, perhaps? I suggested. Bra laughed, a harsh sound like grinding metal. Determination doesn't compensate for inferior biology. Vaznik, these humans lack natural armor, possess no venom, have pathetic sensory abilities, and their homeworld is mostly water. Water. Can you imagine? The High Commander Drexelvor swept into the room, his 9FT frame commanding immediate attention, his ceremonial armor adorned with trophies from conquered species, clicked with each confident stride. Status report, head amended. Human vessel approaching. Docking Bay 3. High Commander reported the communications officer. Their delegation consists of 4 individuals. Only 4. Drexel's mouth ridge curled into what passed for a smile among our kind. They send 4 against our 300. They understand their position at least. I cleared my throat. Intelligence suggests we shouldn't underestimate them. High Commander, they have survived 3 extinction-level events on their home world. Survived? Yes. Thrived? Debatable. Drexel dismissed my concern with a flick of his primary claw. Remember our purpose today, Vaznik. PDP 4728. We allow them nominal independence. They surrender resources and territory. Standard procedure. Standard procedure indeed. The Kreslac Empire had expanded to 64 star systems using this exact approach. Intimidate, negotiate, subjugate, always in that order. Show overwhelming force. Offer a generous treaty that appears to respect autonomy while actually stripping all meaningful rights. Then slowly tighten control until the conquered species becomes another cog in the imperial machine. It had never failed, not once in 4,000 years. They have docked, announced the security chief, scanning for weapons none detected. Drexel straightened his massive frame. Excellent. Bring them in. The grand doors slid open and the human delegation entered. I will never forget that moment. Not if I live another 100 cycles. They were smaller than expected, soft-looking, fragile, even. No claws, no visible armor, just smooth skin in various shades of tan and brown. But they walked with a confidence that seemed misplaced given the empire-wide uprising begins circumstances. Commander Drexelvor announced our protocol officer. Supreme leader of the Kreslac Empire, conqueror of the 64 worlds, terror of the void, welcomes the representatives of Earth. The lead human stepped forward. Female, according to our briefings. Average height for their species, with dark hair pulled back from her face. She wore a simple blue uniform with minimal decorations, nothing like the elaborate displays of rank our officials favored. Ambassador Norah Kim, representing the United Earth government. She said her translator device, converting her sounds into passable Kreslac. Thank you for your hospitality. Hospitality. We had surrounded their colony world with dreadnoughts and demanded their surrender. The woman either had an odd sense of humor or a fundamental misunderstanding of the situation. Ambassador Drexel rumbled, not bothering to lower his towering frame to her eye level. We are pleased you chose the path of diplomacy. It will make things smoother for your species. The human smiled, just curved her mouth upward. Our intelligence suggested this was a friendly gesture among humans, but something about this particular smile made my scales tighten. We are a diplomatic people by nature, Commander, she replied. Violence is so inefficient. Drexel gestured toward the massive treaty table. Then let us be efficient today. The negotiations, if you could call them that, proceeded according to plan. Our legal experts had prepared the standard subjugation treaty thinly disguised as a mutual defense and trade agreement. The humans would retain nominal control of their colony world, Taurus E, while granting us access to 80% of their resources, including the valuable quantum crystals that had brought us to their system in the first place. As senior diplomatic observer, my job was to watch for signs of deception or resistance. I observed Ambassador Kim carefully ace our terms were presented, and she maintained that same unnervingly pleasant expression throughout, occasionally consulting with her 3 colleagues, in hushed tones. These resource allocations seem rather one-sided, she noted during the 3rd hour, pointing to Section 47 of the treaty. A necessary contribution to your protection, replied Drexel smoothly. The galaxy is full of dangers. Our fleet doesn't maintain itself. Of course, she nodded, making a small note on her datapad. And this clause about jurisdictional authority being merely administrative, our legal counsel explained. The Empire requires certain legal frameworks to operate effectively within your system. I see, said the ambassador, making another note, and so it continued, point by point. The humans asked questions, received our carefully crafted non-answers, and made their little notes. They requested minor modifications, trivial things like communication protocols and cultural exchange provisions, which we magnanimously granted to maintain the illusion of negotiation. During a brief recess, Drexel cornered me in the antechamber. Your assessment, Vaznik? He demanded. I hesitated. They're accommodating, High Commander. Perhaps too accommodating. Explain. They are not fighting the major provisions. Resource allocation, military presence, legal jurisdiction. They are accepting our terms with minimal resistance. Drexel's ridge plates expanded in satisfaction because they understand reality. Their scans show 50 warships surrounding their colony. They know resistance is pointless. Perhaps I conceded, but intelligence-indicated humans are notably stubborn. This seems out of character. You overthink, Viznik. Some species simply know when they are beaten. The negotiations.